Hey everybody, welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I'm your host, Gordo Gambles, and welcome back to Week 1 NFL Full Card DFS Breakdown. And I know usually I do these videos recorded, but I'm just being lazy. We're just going to do this all freestyle from the top. If I mess up my words, that's fine. No editing here, just pure hard facts. And I'm ready to go. I'm actually very, very excited for this weekend. Nothing better than starting off the season with, Bills in right over my shoulder. What a beautiful game yesterday. Josh Allen is just my hero. As a Dawson Knox owner, not great. Going up against Cam Akers in some leagues, though, pretty great. So a lot of mixed emotions on day one. There's only one game. We got a ton to go over this weekend. Sundays actually look like a pretty nice slate, and it's week 1. A lot of unknowns, a lot of stuff that we have to get our bearings over, but I actually feel pretty comfortable about this card. Just went over this with a good buddy. I'm excited. I'm hyped to go over it again and see if I can see what I'm liking here. Now, this was the first idea when we had in mind. We made the Played and Fade YouTube channel. We talk about our plays, we talk about our fades, and that is exactly what we are going to do, position by position, hopefully giving you guys some insight into what a lineup should look like on Sunday, or at least what I'm playing from a DFS perspective. Without wasting any more time, let's get started. Starting quarterback position. We got a few nice matchups this week. I mean, we can talk it down low real quick about some of the potential matchups. Not only do you have the Baker Mayfield revenge game, whereas you got the Joe Flacco revenge game. And I don't necessarily suggest you to roster him, but man, that would be something hilarious if he's able to go out there and do well. In this bottom punt play quarterback range, there's 2 names I like, and we're going to keep it at those 2 names. Again, both very risky, but some that I think could maybe be going a bit overlooked, and this is what GPP style is. I'm a GPP player when it comes to NFL. I like these risky lineups, like to punt my defense and special teams, and sometimes I like to punt my quarterbacks, and these are 2 punt options, starting off with number 1, Jameis Winston, 5.3K. I know he doesn't have that same rushing upside, but man, when this guy's on, he's on and he can do very, very well. Week 1 last week, 29 points. And he's going up against that Atlanta defense, not one that's very, very appealing, especially if you're able to get someone to Michael Thomas back. This could definitely be a very, very good option that could set you apart. At 5.3, you're saving yourselves a lot of cash that you can go down there and get the Jonathan Taylors, get the Austin Eckler's, the guys who are going to go out there and have a really high floor. And from Jameis, I think you only need about that 25 range to be optimal. Again, that only happened twice over his 8 games last year, but I do think it's not out of the realm, especially over a guy in Atlanta. Coming off injury, he has a lot to prove. I'm hoping he gets one of his assets back in Michael Thomas. 5.3K, he is a good punt for me this week. Second punt play I talked already is a dangerous one, a much more dangerous one, but Baker Mayfield, risky, right? 5.3, exact same style as Jameis Winston. This is purely as a all right, thanks for everything, Browns. You're going down. And I don't think he necessarily has the edge in the matchup here, but I love his passion and his way to go through this thing. And while he does have Christian McCaffrey healthy, that is what he needs. He needs a guy who's going to go out there and be open and be able to score points for him. And I do think that is going to be a fun matchup nonetheless, whether it be a winning matchup for Baker Mayfield or just one that's going to be entertaining from an offensive standpoint. Either way, 5.3, he is a punt play and a half. Let's talk about a fade real quick. And there's a couple fades I could look over at this top end of the price tags. I do think Kirk Cousins is a bit overpriced for people up here, but what I'm going to fade week 1 is, I wrote this down, but now I'm really debating if I should stick with this one or not. Sure, we'll do it. We'll be fading Tua in week 1. And although I think he does have some upside with those new assets out there at 5.7, I mean, he's not like he's going up against a bad defense. The Patriots are going to be able to keep up with him. And I just don't see his consistency being on the level of people around him. And I think that he will accrue a little bit of ownership around that price range because people are going to think, okay, he's going to have those options. He's going to be rostered a bit more than he usually would. And I don't think he lives up to it. I think he's a very, very risky option. I think that there are better players playing against weaker defenses that could be able to take advantage more. And Tua doesn't please me that much. If we're looking at someone in this mid-range who you can expect to do well, I don't mind Trey Lance, the rookie. I'm calling him a rookie. I know he's not. He's QB1. He should be ready to go facing the Chicago defense. I think he has a decent ceiling. But my favorite option is going to be Jalen Hurts, 6.8K. He's facing the Detroit Lions defense, something that is very beautiful to see, something you love to see. And he's ready to go. I like that he has the rushing upside in his own end. I think he's got better targets out there now with the addition of A.J. Brown. And I think he goes out there and he cooks that defense. Him and Goddard are a stack I'm actually liking a bit. I think he has very, very good upside in this matchup. You can definitely take him. From a cash perspective, from a cash point of view, I like Lamar Jackson as my favorite of the pay-up options. Facing the Jets, I think he goes out there, lets Joe Flacco know where he belongs, and wins himself that matchup. Good rushing upside, good point upside at that price range. But that'll do it for the quarterbacks. A lot of options. I am liking Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, Jackson up top with a little bit of Winston down low. All right, let's get to the running backs. And this is always a fun one to talk about because you have the Jonathan Taylors, the Derrick Henrys, and you have that big price gap between someone in Jonathan Taylor and Dalvin Cook. And although they're both top five, $1,200 is a big gap. This is the most interesting position for me. This is one where I see high-end options I want to target and low-end options I want to target. I need to see a few things from some people before I can convincingly take them, such as CMP. When he's the third highest player, my eyes gravitate towards him. I think I want to play him at 8.5K because he has the best upside out of everybody. We know what he can do. I just don't know how healthy he is. I know the report came out that it was just a cut and he should be fine, but he is so risky every time he plays, but he does have that upside of a QB1. Instead, I want to talk about some punt plays. And of course, you have the newly minted RB1 Dameon Pierce on the Houston. And although Houston is probably going to be playing from behind this game, when you have a cemented RB1 at 4.8K, he is definitely someone else that can garner a little bit of attraction. I think that it's a spot that he can go out there, implement his RB1 dominance and really show out. I mean, not only has he gotten that job, but now it's time to cement why he got it. And although this game most likely ends in a Colts victory, if this game is close at all, he exceeds value. 4.8K for an RB1 is something that is really unheard of. I don't mind me some Dameon Pierce. Also, 6.1K, Saquon Barkley, someone else I'm really liking. Again, he has league-winning upside. I know he's had injury issues, but this guy at his full capability has shown that he can put up RB1 numbers. He has done that. He has been the number one fantasy running back. And I love what you see from this guy when he's healthy. Of course, he had a really shaky year last year, but I mean, let's not forget he put up almost 30 points. Tennessee defense, mid-tier. I don't think it'll be any problem towards Barkley. I think he's going to be able to go out there and be that focal points of the offense is. I know Evan's here, and we can talk about Kenny Golladay later, and sorry about that, but I think that Saquon is going to have the ability to implement a decent game plan. A fade for me in week one, and there's a couple I can look at because I have people I really like, people I really don't like, but a fade for me in week one, not only is going to be Madison at 6.2K, but I'm fading this Jacksonville combination, and I drafted it to the end of my leagues. I expect him to be the number one running back in that group, and I think he's going to take over the job as it goes. But when you're only a few $100s cheaper than someone who's an RB1 like Montgomery, Gibson, it's really hard for me to get to them, especially because they're going to be traveling committee. As you can see here, they're going to be a team working together, kind of like a Henderson versus Akers moment like that. I don't want people who are sharing work, especially against Washington, who have the ability to be beat in the air. Therefore, I'm fading those guys completely. As pay-up options, there's a few we can talk about here. And I don't mind Nick Chubb. I don't mind anybody here, really. They're all really good running backs for a reason. But I gravitated towards Austin Eckler. He's the guy I'm really, really liking, not only from a fantasy perspective, but just in all your leagues and DFS, every week he's going to have an opportunity to go out there and be a pivotal part, right? This guy's ceiling has been 41 points. He's put that up before. He is averaging 21.9 on the season anyways, facing the 29th ranked defense in the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the opportunity to go out there and just make it a super, super electric game. Anytime you have Austin Eckler, he's a red zone threat. He's a reception threat. He's a ground threat. The guy does it all. And at 8.2K, he is that safe piece for your running for your core. Jonathan Taylor, although he's a safe piece, has to compete with the blowout risk. And that is something that really scares me. That huge $900 more expensive than Eckler price tag is really, does he live up to it? Can they keep the game close to not only allow Jonathan Taylor to work, but Pierce to work as well? So Austin Eckler is my favorite core play in terms of a safer play with also decent upside. I really like him. But let's move on. Wide receivers. And again, shout out to my boy Evan, but it's week one. So we got to talk about one guy and one guy only, if I can spell his name right. It's week one. Watkins, he's playing on the Green Bay. No more Devonte Adams. There's a lot more target share for him out there. And although he is someone who is very, very risky, it's week one. He likes to ball out. He's working for his job. He's going to have less competition around him. And I do think there's opportunity to go out there and exceed value at 4.7K. Sammy Watkins is a decent option. But again, let's go through like we always do. Someone down low, I do not mind if we're getting a bit risky. Right above Sammy Watkins price tag is going to be Robbie Anderson. All right, we're in the wrong category. But Robbie Anderson, 4.8K. I drafted him in a lot of my leagues, maybe to my own demise. Maybe that was a bad decision. But I do think he has the opportunity to cement himself as a pivotal part of that offense. I think he has the ability to go out there and there he is. Work with Baker in that revenge game. And I do think he's a guy with decent GPP upside in this spot. I mean, we saw how he did last year with a questionable quarterback, and this might be an upgrade for him. I do think he's an opportunity to go out there. He gets out a new contract. I like him a bit at that price tag. Somebody else I like, this is completely cemented on the fact that Michael Thomas is questionable, but if he does not play, the rookie, Chris Olave, 4.5K. Chris Olave is going to have the opportunity to be open a lot more, get a lot more of that target share without Michael Thomas, going up against that Atlanta defense, one that is just beautiful to play against because they're not the best, I'll tell you that for sure. Paired up with Jameis Winston, if Michael Thomas doesn't play, that is going to be a very, very good stack of mine. I do like that combination quite a bit. Chris Olave, 4.5K. I don't mind him. Let's start moving up, though. This is where things get interesting. And there's a couple decent options that miss in this mid-range, but there's question marks associated with almost every player, right? With someone like Elijah Moore, you have to deal with Joe Flacco. With Kirk, you have to deal with the factor on Jacksonville. With Ayuk, you have to compete with Debo, New for Juju, Pittman has blow risk. Everybody has question marks around them. Even Darnell Mooney, a guy who I'm high on from fantasy perspective, has the risk of being overpriced in this spot. Up top, there's no question about it, all right? I love me some Jamar Jefferson. Some Jay Jettas, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. I messed them up, sorry. Jamar Chase, 7.1K. He might be my favorite target playing against that Pittsburgh defense. We all know that he can go out there, score tons of points. Him and Burrow have a great connection. 7.1K, I like him more than Debo. I like him a lot more than Keenan Allen is right below him. I really do think he has a very high ceiling in this matchup, and he's one of my favorite pay-up options. As a fade option for me, I faded Tua, so implied I faded Hill, so I'm not going to count that because that's kind of like, that's cheating a bit, isn't it? We're going to go up and we are actually going to fade Devonte Adams in his very first week. Not because his skill level isn't there, not because he doesn't have the opportunity to score well, but his price tag's too high, in my opinion. With all the unknowns of a new team, with more targets around him, I mean, Waller and Renfro are gonna eat up a lot more of the targets than Lazard and MVS did last year, right? So he's going to have to be in a more crowded field with a downgraded quarterback, in my opinion. 8.1K isn't justified until we see it firsthand how well he can do. He's the most expensive player out there. Wide receiver out there. It is a very questionable matchup for me. I don't think I'm going to get to him as often, especially in GPP. Rather go with Jefferson, rather go with Chase. All right, tight ends. Let's talk about it. I love Travis Kelce. Number one point of this offense, no more Tyreek Hill. He is that guy, and I will have some ownership on him because of his upside so high. Arizona is going to be a high-scoring game. I can't convince me otherwise. We're playing the over there. Kelce is going to be not only a reception threat, but he's going to have to do a lot more without that Hill there. I like him. Andrews, of course, he's implied to do very well. Kyle Pitts, 5.7K. Again, no London in this spot. He is going to be a very, very important part of this offense as well. If Atlanta's going to want to have any chance, he's going to have to be the dominant tight end that they drafted when they got him, or what they expected from him. I'm liking him at 5.7K. He'll definitely be in my GBP lineups as well. Fade for me, Mike Gesicki. And I know I'm fading Miami. And this is a bit different. I'm going to excuse myself from this one. Excuse me. Talking too much. Mike Gesicki's a guy who, again, more crowded team with the additions that they have there, but he's not playing the role I want him to. His ADP in fantasy has got way down because of the way he's been practicing, and he's priced above some people we're going to talk about next, but he's at 4.8K. He is the biggest fade for me. I can't get to him. I can't see him putting up 6-7 points or more than that. I don't like him this week, and I will be fading him. Dallas Goedert's my core play this week. 4.5K. The stack of him and Hurts is something I absolutely love. I'm not going to talk trash about that defense or the Lions defense, but the thought is there. I just think that Dallas Goedert's going to have the opportunity to really show up against the 24th ranked defense in the Detroit Lions. Those are stats, not insult. And go up there and really exceed value. He's going to have a more crowded backfield with the addition of A.J. Brown, but I still think he has the size. He was dominant in the second half of the season when he got traded there. So, or sorry, when he got there without Ertz. So I don't think he has much risk. I think he has a very, very high floor. He has a target share. He has a red zone threat. I do like Dallas Goedert a lot at that 4.5K price tag. Last but not least, let's talk about defensive special teams. And I usually like to punt them, as I mentioned. Therefore, I don't mind the Bears this week, 2.2K. They lost Khalil Mack, but I still think they have the opportunity to go out there and do well. I think it's going to be a slower pace game. Punt play, 2.2. Can't get any better than that. Commanders is another punt play of mine, 2.5. Jacksonville is Jacksonville. They have really good upside of playing good defense. They are, however, terribly risky. You see them be either 19 points, 1 point. They are a punt play for me. If you want a safer DST, if you don't want to punt them, if you want to play it cool, Eagles 3.1. I don't see Detroit doing very well. However, one of the favorites for me is going to be the Bengals. Pittsburgh, I'm not a fan of their offense at all. I don't think I'm alone on that one. The Bengals and the Saints are together. I'll talk about the Saints in a second too, but I don't like what I'm seeing from them. And I think this game is to be a blowout, and therefore Cincinnati all day, especially with the interception risk of Mitch Trubisky. I do think that they're going to have a lot of upside at that price tag. Them and the Saints. Saints are like my cash play. Bengals a bit more contrarian because I do think the Saints are going to get a lot of ownership at that price tag. Playing Atlanta, I do think they're a very safe option. A fade for me, however, you could fade the revenge game, and you can fade the Browns if you think Baker's going to do well. I'm going to fade the Packers, and I like the Packers defense as a whole. I think that dynamic offense of Minnesota is going to be a problem for them. So many targets out there. I know it's Kirk Cousins, but I do think that Minnesota wins this game, and I think that in doing so, the Packers don't score better than the Eagles, don't score better than the Chargers, and it's really hard for me to get them at 3.2K. But that is going to round out most of my slate. If you guys want to see, let's give you guys a little sneak peek of how I'm playing this. We just, pretend like I'm not doing anything here. My core targets. Ooh. Something like this. Here's a fun little lineup for you guys. So that's core plays of mine. I like them all. Of course, I mentioned a lot of names that you can get to, and it is week one, so there's going to be a lot of volatility, a lot of stuff I like. However, this is something I'm definitely going to be going to. I like the floors here. I like all their ceilings. All these players are very, very dynamic, and those are the 5 players we play in a lot of them. But that's going to do it for me here on the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. Let's get this out of here. We're going to be talking about this a lot throughout the year. Usually they'll be recorded videos, so I don't really have to see my face as big as this. They'll be edited better, but it's UFC 279. It's very, very hectic. I thought I'd come on, do a short little live stream for you. Hopefully you like it. Time to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because I'll be doing these each and every week. That's going to round it out here, though. So hopefully you guys enjoy the games on Sunday. It's going to be a fun little slate. Lots of money to be made. I'll be posting my bets here Sunday morning. Other than that, guys, if you have any questions, DM me on Twitter @GamblesGordo. Once again, subscribe to the channel, and let's make some money, guys.